Boy, if you're a Steelers fan, you're just continuing to shake your head at this shitty team. Seriously, the Steelers are bad. They're a bad team. Yeah, they have a good defense, but what does it matter when you can't stop anybody? Even with the Chiefs getting older by the year, they still cannot be stopped. Patrick Mahomes has no worry in the pocket. He's able to get up whenever he wants. Also, he can get away with just about any penalty, and anytime you touch him, there's a penalty. Um, Today, the Steelers beat themselves again. They had many opportunities to make this game close. I mean, at halftime, it was 13-7, very well within reach. And what happens in the second half? They give up a touchdown to the Chiefs. No big deal. Just like that, the game was over. The game was over after the Chiefs scored a touchdown in the second half. And like I said, I predicted this. The Chiefs would dominate, and they absolutely did in every way. There was barely a moment where the Chiefs had a chance or where the Steelers had a chance. Where the small time where they did, they just find ways to, lose out on opportunities. But let me know what you think down below, and let's talk about this game because boy, it started off right away. Chiefs scored 2 touchdowns, and it was like, oh my god, the game's gonna go away. Then Steelers start moving the ball. They start handing the ball to Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren was charging. He was running with purpose today. He didn't make any mistakes today. He was good out of the backfield as well. He had a pretty darn good day. Najee Harris made some runs at the end of the game, but it was Warren's game for the most part in this game, and continuing forward for the rest of the season, I would imagine it being like a near 50-50 split with maybe a small percentage going more towards Warren just because he looks better, he looks more efficient, and he's just running harder than Najee Harris has been. I think one of the big issues today was just missed opportunities. Today for the Steelers defense, no sacks today. At no point was Mahomes ever really under pressure. I mean, the one time he did, there was a roughing the passer call thrown against the Steelers, so we got that. Um, the Steelers had a chance to score a touchdown. They did manage to score a touchdown, but what happens? An offside call. An offside call on the offense. I believe it was an offside call, and it wiped out a big game. That was a touchdown. That's another thing. The defense dropped 2 interceptions, or would have been interceptions, by Mahomes today. And Russell Wilson, after said touchdown that was overturned by a touchdown, he throws an absolutely terrible interception to Justin Reed in the end zone. Now, I think you can make the argument that George Pickens should have continued to go on the go route, but he just was kind of held up and then didn't keep going forward. And as a result, Justin Reed was able just to pop up and pick it off. But let's be honest, even if Pickens is going out on said go route for into the end zone, it probably still is an interception just because it was a terrible throw by Russell Wilson. Then you have later in the game where, I mean, it's out of reach. It was like by 12 points, but still, if you make a move, you can maybe make it a little interesting. But what happens? Freiermuth does a little too much, holds the ball on the right hand side or on the left hand side, and is able to get stripped out. Now, if he's able to hug it high and tight on the right hand side, it probably goes out of bounds. But again, just today the Steelers again, they struggle at the worst times. They just struggle against actually good teams. So it just makes you wonder, is the Steelers a product of their really weak opening schedule? And I think they are. I mean, because we knew, or a lot of us on YouTube were saying, a lot of NFL pundits as well, looking at the end of the schedule for the Steelers, it's an absolute murder's row, and they have faltered in just about every way you can imagine. Getting blown out by Philadelphia, they beat themselves against Baltimore, and Baltimore beat the shit out of them. And now playing against the Chiefs at Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh on Christmas Day, and they lose 29-10. I mean, it's just, they just cannot beat good teams. And it's starting to look like certain teams of old the last couple of years where The Steelers are just paper tigers, and they look like they're bound for a first round exit. They really do. At this point, the chances of them winning the AFC North are basically down to zilch, unless Baltimore loses today against Houston, which I don't think is going to happen. I think Baltimore wins that pretty easily. But yeah, it's again another bad day by the Steelers. The Steelers had every opportunity to win this game, but Russell Wilson didn't make the right plays. They ran the ball really well, but then always came up short. Always had to settle for field goals, and just you can't do that. When you're playing the Chiefs, you need to be perfect. You need to be absolutely perfect. Now, there were several times where the Chiefs gave opportunities back to the Steelers. There were a couple of times, or there were a couple of big penalties on after scoring touchdowns where they pushed back Buckner back. Now Buckner made one and missed one extra point, but let's be honest. If you're the NFL and you're trying to push forward this no fun league image where you penalize every player for a celebration in the end zone, make it worth your while. Don't put 15 yards on the extra point try. Put it after the kickoff return. So like no, wherever the kickoff return team returns to, then add the 15-yard penalty. If you really want to make it hurt, put it on that play, not on the extra point, because most kickers still, even if they're pushed back another 15 yards, they're still probably going to make the extra point. So really, the penalty is null and void at that point. But Patrick Mahomes was great today. Pacheco not running really well. I did say in my preview video that to bet anytime touchdown on Kareem Hunt, and sure enough, he banks it in and frankly looked like the better runner for most of the day. Pacheco left early with a rib injury and he looked like he was in serious pain. And Pacheco just hasn't been the same since he came back from the injury. I don't think he's scored a touchdown since then. And despite Pacheco coming back and, establishing the number one runner role, it's still been a pretty even timeshare between the two. And Kareem Hunt has made the most of his opportunities and he continues to be out there. Now, if Pacheco misses it an extended period of time, again, if you're still having fantasy playoffs, Kareem Hunt might be a good option to throw out there again. I mean, the last couple of weeks, he's been okay addition, but if Pacheco misses time next week and you got like a second rung of a championship team, maybe he might be worth a look. Especially with next week being week 18 and teams starting to rest players, I'm sure. But, man, again, today, Steelers had many opportunities to win. Many opportunities to win. The Chiefs gave them opportunities as well, like I said, with the dropped interceptions. But their defense, even without Chris Jones, no problem. No problem. No problem. They got 5 sacks on Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson took at least 3 sacks that he should not have taken. They were just absolutely awful. And another thing about the Chiefs is like Jawan Taylor is terrible. I mean, he did pretty well blocking, but I mean, he had like 4 or 5 penalties today. I mean, he's like the most penalized offensive lineman in the league. I mean, he's got to be. He was that way last year, I do believe, and the year before, I believe he was as well. Just not great, always committing penalties, but it doesn't matter with the Chiefs. I mean, when you got the NFL refs at your back, and then when you're just about perfect on top of that, I mean, you don't have to worry about much. You don't have to worry about losing. They wrap up the number 1 seed, and now, as the announcers kindly said on the broadcast, now the Chiefs really don't have a meaningful playoff game for another 24 days. Now, if you were any other team and you had a 24-day period off before your first playoff game, you would be shitting bricks. But when you're the Chiefs, it's like, don't worry, we got the refs at our back. The refs will bail us out no matter what. Plus, we're playing as well as we have been for all year. We got it. That's why it's like, Probably. I mean, if Buffalo continues to play like they have been, and make it to the second, well, they wouldn't play the Chiefs in the second round. The At this rate, as long as the Bills win one more game, they'll wrap up the number 2 seed, and then they won't play again. They'll have one more game next week, and then they'll play the opening week of the playoffs. They'll probably have it. They'll have another home game in the divisional round if they win wild card game, and then the chances we'll probably see Buffalo and Kansas City in the AFC Championship game about 6 weeks from now, about 4 or 5 weeks from now. But man, again, the Chiefs just stamp another victory. Steelers are still a playoff team, but at this rate, they are a first round exit in every way. And yeah, Tomlin, yay, another season above 500. But what does it matter when you don't win anything? I mean, your last 3 playoff wins were against a Bengals team that imploded, a bad Miami team, and a Chiefs team with Alex Smith. So yeah, the Steelers again are looking at another first round exit, and the Steelers aren't going to Super Bowl, are not going to the Super Bowl for sure. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Well, from all fans, whether you're pissed off Steelers fans or a high as a kite Chiefs fan. Let me know what you think down in the comments. We'll have a great day, and as always, God bless and go Pack Go.